so many times couple think, especially Americans couple, they think they're getting married in Italy or in Spain or in south of France or in England. They think that should be like so much more expensive than getting married here in the States. And when they start doing research and asking for inquiries and reach out to planner, so many times they're surprised from how cheaper, not always, but so many times is way cheaper than planning a wedding here in the States.
The goal isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will.
Welcome to Perspective, the podcast for wedding creatives, where we sit down often with a special guest and talk about our many years of experience in the wedding industry. Following on from our last episode with Melody Joy, in which we talked about sustaining a business from two different parts of the world, today's episode we're going to be talking to Alessandro Bordoni, who's moved his wedding business from the luxury Italian wedding market to the scenes of Los Angeles. We'll get into Alessandro's business and personal successes, as well as cover any hardships he faced in making the move halfway across the world in order to make a living. If you enjoyed last week's episode, then you're definitely going to enjoy today's episode. And of course, this episode is sponsored by With Jack, but I will get onto that later in the show. In the meantime, Greg, what are we drinking?
Here in the Cinemate office, we have Tim Wendelbo coffee from Ethiopia. Mm-hmm. So we were recently in Tromsø for a wedding, and on the way back we stopped off in Oslo with the main intention of going to this guy's cafe because it's like world-class coffee. So we brought a bag of that back and we're drinking it. It's Gadebi.
Gadebi, yeah.
But Alessandro, what are you drinking over in California?
I'm drinking tons of coffee.
Tons.
But American coffee, not Italian one. Hi everybody, guys. I'm so glad to be here with you.
Yes.
I was following your podcast and you're amazing. I really love it.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you for having me.
No, it's our pleasure, obviously. Obviously, we've known each other for quite some time. But let's just chat before we get into anything too deep. How was your weekend? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, the weather is not that cool right now here. It's a bit cold. And they saying it wasn't that cold like in the last 50 years or something like that.
Wow. And
then I was like, yeah, nice time to move to California, I guess. but it's way better than Italy, so I'm fine. And yeah, what I did this weekend, what we did. I'm just thinking about, because now when you work for yourself and we don't have kids or a regular weekly routine, every day is the same day. We don't have really Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
If we want to hang out and go to do a hike somewhere on a Tuesday, you can do that.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I did actually.
So is it a quiet time of year for wedding shoots at the moment then?
Well, now it's a bit slow down, the season and everything right now here. I shot an event, a wedding planners events last week. They used to do a lot of these events here in LA. They gather together, they speak about the industry, where they can improve. And of course, they want someone filming the events, and it's good also for networking. So yeah, that's what I did last week. I flew to Hawaii 2 weeks ago. I'm trying to remember what I did, guys. and I will finally get to this weekend.
It's okay. I know it's hard. You've just woken up. We completely understand.
Don't tell anyone. Yeah, I'm waiting for my cup of coffee. But yeah, I flew to Hawaii 2 weeks ago because I had a wedding there. Super great place. I've never been there. I really enjoy. It's a paradise. It's really a paradise, and I can't wait to go back again. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and now that I'm here, I'm doing a bit of both. I'm doing wedding films, but I'm also starting doing a bit more of commercial and music video stuff. The same stuff that I was doing when I was in Italy, in Milan. But I mean, here is the industry is much bigger, of course. Uh-huh. So I found a couple of directors. I'm going on sets, like huge sets, big budget, and getting some experience on field. And that's great, because that's something that you can do only here in Hollywood. So wedding is main, of course, business, because that's what I like, what I do. But I'm just taking the opportunity. Now that I'm here, I'm learning from these kind of experiences. That's also why I moved here, not just because of the weather. So
Yeah. Did I see you shooting with a red recently? Or was that recent? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like a month ago. Funny fact is that even the cheaper videographer here, the cheesiest one, work with a red.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're so used to like high standard, even in the low budget production. That's super cool. That's what I found different here. Even if you speak about wedding or commercial stuff or anything, even a blogger, like people here are much more professional than what we are using in Europe. I mean, in Europe, you have like the guy who's in the industry for a few years, very high-end, super professional, a lot of expertise. But at the same time, you also have the beginners, the guy who trying to make their own path in the industry. They're just starting out. While here, even if someone who's starting out is super already like so professional, so he's got everything. He's got the insurance. He's got the software to manage the client that I got now after a few years. The approach, the mentality, it's very. I found that more professional here, and that's beautiful because when you work with these kind of people, sometimes you cannot tell that they're just starting out, or maybe they're doing this for like 2 years, because they look and they are so professional. So I really enjoyed that. That's it's a different approach here.
Yeah. I've always appreciated the business side behind a brand.
Yeah.
It's kind of harder to see that, and I feel like that's social media's fault, that you can very easily portray a professional outlook but not have that kind of business behind the brand, customer service, even the product to a certain degree. Yeah, I feel like that can be sometimes missing.
Yeah, what I feel is that if I had to compare like Americans and European, now that I'm living seasonally here and in Italy, I can easily say that like business-wise, customer care-wise, Americans are much better, and I'm learning a lot from there. Creative-wise, they have a bit of a lack somewhere. In Europe, we are more like, I think we take more risks. We play more. We with what we have. We try to be more creative, and of course, we add a bit more drama than what they have, but I could say that they see us as always as much more creative people than them.
Okay.
But at the same time, they see us like, hey, you're so creative, so great, and your output is so good, but business-wise, you're a mess.
Yeah.
So from my experience, I mean, I'm speaking from my experience, Americans are much better. Of course, there are great people who deliver great outputs, but they're much in average. They're much better in business. While in Europe, there are more like talented and creative guys. That's what I'm trying to do. Also, living here is I can learn from both sides because I'm European, I'm Italian, but at the same time, I always had a thing for the States. That's why I kept going back and forward, and finally I moved here. So I'm learning the business approach, the customer care, the professional approach, American side, but at the same time, I'm keeping the creative and the vision that we have in Europe. So that's what from my experience.
Yeah. It's funny, we were actually just meeting up with a couple of photographers just for lunch there, and we were having a very similar conversation about the differences between the American market and the European market, and how the styles, when you look at an American wedding film, it's very much a wedding film. For good and bad, obviously. But when, I feel like there's a lot more artistic people kind of pushing the wedding envelope. So sometimes you could be looking at something that at first glance, it doesn't feel like a wedding film at all. They approach it as if it's just a film, and, story is the key driving factor, So yeah, I do see what you mean.
I never liked doing like a music wedding video, no? Choosing a nice songs or doing something too much artistry and too much not a wedding, because eventually it's a wedding. So I want to let people know that. I don't want it to fool my audience and pretend they're watching a piece of art, a film that for the first 20 seconds you still don't know it's a wedding. I'm not the kind of guy, that's my approach. So I like their approach about that it's clear that it's a wedding, and they use a lot of the audio for nowadays we all do, but they start the thing. So I like that approach. On the other hand, I think that they don't try too much to create a film like an authentic movie, because they have the film industry here. So, and it's very strong. So, or people work in the wedding industry or work in the feature film industry. It's like two completely different industry. So if someone is working in the wedding industry, he don't have the goal to pretend that's a movie. Because he knows what's a movie he is, because maybe his cousin, his friend is working in the movie industry, and that industry is very strong here. So you just do a wedding film. You just do as better as you can, use your narrative, use your audio, but you never pretend that it's like a movie that you can watch in theaters. So because those kind of movies are something else. And you can feel that influence being here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I had never actually thought about that, but maybe that is, what makes the markets different, because we obviously, for the people who get into film, we obviously love film. Like for me, I love a good blockbuster film, a good independent film, but I don't have the ability to go to LA and make that my reality. So I guess I kind of put that view into the work that I do, which is obviously the wedding. So, and I wonder if that's the case with so many others. We've actually been quite busy as well. The start of the year was quite cool. We were filming an Australian couple getting married in Norway.
Nope, never.
It is bloody cold over there.
It's like another world. The amount of snow was incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a really interesting experience, actually. I mean, it was sunrise was at 8:30, 9.
The time of year it is, the days in Norway, because it's right up in the Arctic Circle, are so short. It's the sun rises at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then it sets at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, like complete darkness.
Wow.
So we didn't have much time with the couple. And we were working with two other photographers who were kind of based in Tromsø, which is where we were doing the kind of shoot around. And so we took the couple in the morning, and I mean it's like -4 degrees.
Wow.
So we take the couple out. The groom's wearing thermals and like just your normal kind of wedding attire, and the bride's not wearing any thermals and your normal wedding dress. So she is so brave. Like seriously, it was hardcore. And we drove about an hour out, did a few shoots, varying different locations, obviously all in the like deep snow.
Yeah, if you stepped off of the path that had sort of been created, you just went knee deep into snow.
Yeah.
You just would sink.
So yeah, you kind of had to follow each other's footprints, because that was the only, like, the compressed snow was the only thing stopping you from falling in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really cool. We got to test our new drone, which was nice. And then the ceremony was lovely as well. It was kind of in the middle of this fjord, essentially, with the big mountains in the background.
Wow.
And it was really funny because we have a really tight aspect ratio, which for this project, for this wedding, I actually just decided to change it because you really want to be able to see those mountains in the background.
Yeah, to do the landscape justice, we're going to get a bit of a wider, taller aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Wow, you had a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah.
That was an elopement, right?
It was
an elopement.
It was, yeah. Which is something that we're doing more of, which is kind of cool because I much prefer elopements, to be honest. Not that weddings don't have their place, because I really love like all the family interacting with each other and seeing all that family joy and the big party at the end. I love all that. But when you're getting so intimate with your couple and you get to just shoot them and they go on an adventure and take you along with you, there's just something kind of special about that.
And this one in Norway was like a proper elopement because they've not told their family that they're getting married on this trip. So we need to.
Cool.
We can't give too much details because we can't actually show any footage until July when they actually tell their. Yeah, until later in the year when they actually tell their family.
Okay. Oh, that's a pity because if it was you, I was already sharing so much stuff on Instagram and everything.
Tell me about it.
I understand why. Yeah.
No, I'm dying to. But yeah, so for the people who are listening who don't know who you are you?
I'm Alessandro. Hi. Who am I? I'm Alessandro Bordoni. I'm an Italian guy. I met with a girlfriend. She's from Argentina and then moved to Italy. And we started doing commercial video in Italy. And then we started doing wedding film in Italy. After my first season, because in Italy we have maybe like you in England, we have the wedding season, because when the weather is proper. So after it's very short, the wedding season in Italy. That's also one of the main reasons why I moved out here. While here, people get married all year round. So that's another reason. The first wedding season in Italy, like 3 months, I shot Italian wedding. And I didn't really like those kind of wedding. I didn't like the too much religious stuff going on. And they were always all about fun and getting drunk, which is cool. But when that's the only thing that you have in your footage, it's boring when it comes to edit. Because you have the same kind of vibe all the time in your footage. At the same time, I was watching like big filmmaker like Joe Simon or Still in Motion or like 31 Film, American filmmaker. And I was loving those kind of speeches, vows, and the kind of American approach. I was like, that's what I want to do, but I can't do that with an Italian couple, because in Italy, there's no like first look, vows, speeches, stuff like that. I ended up being an assistant for an Italian guy who was already doing destination wedding with American people getting married in Italy. And I did like 3 weddings in a row in Tuscany, so 3 destination wedding. And after that experience, I was like, whoa, I have to move to this market because I like it much more. I already have the skills to film, because I thought that there was a more like the expectation were much higher. While working with these guys as an assistant, I was like, I can already do that. I can already shoot this kind of wedding. It's just the Italian wedding, but different because the venue is much cooler. People are more like, it's an intimate wedding, not like 300 people. So you can better move around and manage everything. And they're so in love with our own country. I don't even love Italy that much as American love Italy. I started appreciating my own country when I started working with American clients, actually. So watching these people in love with the country, drinking their glass of food in their Tuscan countryside on Lake Como, and speaking about that and speaking about the couple and the love, all that kind of American approach, I was like, yeah, I want to do this kind of wedding. I was I was in between. I was about to choose. I was still doing commercial and wedding, and I was super tired about the Italian wedding. So I was about to move everything, all my energy in the commercial business. But at the same time, we like to travel a lot. We like that kind of feeling when you work with real people, real couple, while on the other side, when you work with clients, there's always budget problem, product deadline, the stuff like that. It's different, you know? So after that experience, I say like, let's move, let's change the network. Let's focus on destination wedding. And I got back home, spoke with Sole, my girlfriend, and we decide, okay, let's do that. We close our website and we open another website only in English under my name. But we didn't have any destination wedding to show as portfolio. So I reached out to a planner I was watching in Italy. I was like, what's the best place like when I want to show my first destination wedding? And I thought Venice, because Venice is the unique city that we have in Italy.
Yeah.
Of course, Rome, Florence, other places are beautiful, but Venice has something unique, different.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, my first destination wedding on my portfolio will be in Venice. So I started reaching out to Venetian wedding planners, and I found this American Italian wedding planner. She had crappy videos about her weddings. So I proposed myself, and I was like, hey, I'm this guy. This is my Italian wedding film. This is my commercial wedding video. I want to shoot a destination wedding. I'm going to do that for free for the first time. But I want to be sure that that's the kind of wedding that I vision, that I pictured. So I want a specific couple, a specific flower, a specific venue. That's the only reason why I'm gonna do that for free. And she say, okay, maybe I have something for you. And after a couple of months, she proposed me a wedding that was perfect for my portfolio, all the ingredients that I wanted to show. And I just took the train, went to Venice, shot my first destination wedding, and started promoting me with my new website under my own name, Alessandro Bordoni. All the website was in English with this one first piece of wedding film shot in Venice. And I started promoting myself like that. And then everything followed. That's how I started doing destination wedding. It was a quick decision. I see a lot of our colleagues, they still do both, like local wedding and destination wedding. I think being Italian was much easier because Italy is a huge market for destination wedding.
Yeah.
So you can say that, you can decide all of a sudden, I'm going to do just that. Of course, it's totally different. So totally different vendors, totally different venue. So you have to change all your marketing or your network, people that you're working with. But you can do that because there's plenty of destination wedding in Italy. So yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because back a few years ago, we went to Italy a few times throughout the year, and I remember speaking to the planners that we knew, and they had the very same approach, that they only dealt with destination couples because they do, like you said, they had that passion for Italy that the locals didn't seem to have or didn't want to have, or you know, they just celebrated in a very different fashion. So
the wedding planners we would work with, 90% of their couples were Americans coming over.
Yeah.
And it was just because the dream of that Tuscan countryside wedding, go on a tour of a vineyard the day before. Yeah.
Going forward, like that's how I started. Then I started doing a lot of destination wedding in Italy. But at the same time, I always felt I don't want to be the Italian wedding videographer, you know?
Yeah.
Because I had my colleagues telling me, oh, you should do like that guy, you should do like that guy, because those guys were at that time the main Italian wedding videographer. I always was like, yeah, I like my own country. I know there's so many people come here to get married, but I like to travel abroad. And I work with my girlfriend. We have no kids, no animals, so we're free. We can do that. And I want to travel more. So I don't want to promote myself just as an Italian. I want to be a destination wedding. That's it.
Yeah.
And so I started promoting myself also abroad. And my American couples, started also inquiring me, not just for shooting their wedding in Italy, but also for shoot their wedding or their pre-wedding in the States or somewhere else. I started doing weddings also, not just in Italy, but even abroad. I came in England. I regularly came in England. I think this summer I have 3 weddings in London and right outside of London. Cool. So I always wanted to be like, not be categorized like the Italian, wedding videographer. And one of the main reason was also because I never liked how the Italian wedding destination videographer approach this work, because I don't like the both creative and business wise. Creative side wise, they approach the wedding film using, for example, the same music, the same La Dolce Vita, vintage music.
Yes.
And that's easy play, Of course, a client is happy, is getting married in Italy, and you create a wedding film with that beautiful La Dolce Vita music. Okay, it would be good for a couple of film, but you cannot do that or using that kind of cinematic Italian 50, 60 music for all your films. And I didn't like that. That's why I was like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the Italian wedding destination guy. So I started to play things, to play differently, to use different ingredients, music, techniques, learning from different industries. And I mixed everything together because I always wanted to be different from the regular Italian wedding videographer. At the same time, I never liked how the prices and all the Italian market were going. Because when I first started 5 years ago, I could say that it was still a huge market, and there were like 5 big names in Italy working with destination couple. And they were charging something like around 3,000, 3,500, something like that, euro. And they were the big name, you know? And there was still room in the industry for other videographer. But in a couple of years, like everything's blown, like so many competitors right now. And as like in every market, not just the wedding market, the more offer you have, the lower your prices go. So that's what I was watching. I was like, yeah, I want to raise my prices because I wanted to do a better job. I don't want to be frustrated when I'm working on a wedding because I'm like, oh, I'm not going to push myself because I'm earning too little in this wedding. I wanted to raise my money in the way that I have only this wedding to shoot this week and I don't have another wedding tomorrow or another wedding yesterday. So I can focus on this one because I'm making good money. Yep. And at the same time, I can push my boundaries and be creative. Because here, the market is way better. Prices are much higher. And I'm working both with American clients who gets married in the States. I shot a wedding in Hawaii last week. I have a wedding here in Los Angeles in a couple of months. But at the same time, I can network myself with planners and clients here. And I can get them, like, I can show them my work. We can meet up. They can book me way in advance. They start looking for vendors in Italy.
Yeah.
That was one of my main strategies. So when the client land in Italy and start looking for venues, vendor, photographer, blah, 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 they already, we're good for the video because we already got a guy which is Italian, and they appreciate that because they appreciate that I'm Italian. So I have expertise in my own country and in whole Europe because they don't really know the difference. If you're Italian, they think, I mean, you have expertise all around Europe. For them, it's a whole country, Europe, you know?
Yeah, it's a small place to them.
So, yeah. So they feel so much comfortable having you speaking the language or knowing how the culture is there. But at the same time, I'm one of them because I'm living here. I know the rules here. So I can speak their language in terms of, the kind of balance, you know?
And it's funny, that competition in the Italian market that actually kind of forced us out a little bit. Like, our planners kept on coming back to us and saying, look, you know, the local guys are a little bit better now and they're offering their services at like super cheap. So, you know, I'm going to them first.
So
this
instead
is their country,
of paying
and
for your flights and your prices, we can just go with someone else a lot cheaper. It's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've not shot in Italy for 2-3 years maybe now.
Yeah.
One of the main reasons also why I think you struggle getting more wedding in Italy, because as you say, the planner tell you, the cheaper, the local videographer are getting better, they're much cheaper, and blah, blah, blah. There's also one main reason, because they get a fee from them, a commission.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's another huge difference that I discovered. I mean, I knew inside of me, but I wasn't sure about that. I had that feeling that was just an Italian thing and not outside. But I had to move out and working with people from abroad and here in California and Los Angeles to really say, yeah, that's a really fucking mafia Italian thing. Because that I don't like that. That's something that I really don't like. Because the problem in Italy is that even the cheaper wedding planner, the beginner wedding planner, from the top high-end and most famous wedding planner, they all I don't want to say whole, but 99%, they all apply a commission to their vendors. And all of the local vendors, they're fine giving a 10% commission. So that's also another reason why you and other people like you struggle to work in Italy. I mean, not to work for free, but to work being paid, you know, my prices. Because, you're a bit more expensive. And at the same time, it's not in your culture to give them a fee. So they much prefer hiring someone local and they get that 10% from that guy.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm not proud of. I'm not doing that, but that's something that happens all the times.
I did hear that, and I wasn't sure if that was the case, and I'm still not sure if that's the case with the planners that we knew of, because they never asked us for that. But it had always been in the back of my mind, and I know that can sometimes, like you said, be a cultural thing. So I understand, but at the same time, just like you, if that was to come our way, we would not, we would say no, just out of principle, because I don't really agree with it, to be fair.
I mean, I don't want to build my business. I don't want to build my business on those 10% commission that I give to the planners. I want to build my business with my name, with my films, and the person and the profession that I am. If you don't see that, if you don't appreciate that, I'm fine, but we're not working together.
Yeah.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, and maybe me saying that came off as like that was a bad thing for planners to do. It's not a bad thing for planners to do if that's sustaining their business and whatever. But I just personally wouldn't go, with that method. But
it's very something. About the culture of the country, it's very related to that. When I moved here last year, the first wedding that I shot actually was a celebrity wedding. I shot Nicolas Cage's son wedding,
cool.
The Hollywood actor, and because that was super lucky. Because I have a friend of a friend who referred my name to a wedding planner. She was the wedding planner of Nicolas Cage's son, and they have Italian roots, so they were looking for a different videographer, and they found myself like a good fit for them. But even in that situation, like working with a celebrity, the planner never asked me for a fee, because that's not in their culture. I mean, there are a few here and there, but it's not the average, So it's all about understanding how each country works and how you want to deal with that, and it's all about that.
So you've been in LA for how long now? You moved there last year.
Now it's a year and a half.
Cool. So
a year and almost a half. I have and I have a visa for 3 years, and then I will be renewing that visa, hopefully, if Trump's won. That's what I'm.
So what sort of steps or tools are you using to establish yourself as being in that location now? Are you trying to get more weddings in the LA sort of area?
I'm trying to spread my wedding, because one of the main reasons, I have so many reasons. One of the main reasons why I moved here was also that I was so tired of shooting so many weddings in Italy, even if they were destination wedding, in just those 3 months, June, July, and August, and a bit of September. 3 months and a half, that's the wedding season in Italy and Europe as well. And I was so tired to shoot like 20, 25 weddings in those short amount of time, running from one wedding to another one. And I wanted to be like, I want to shoot 10 weddings here in Italy/Europe, and I wanted to shoot 10 more weddings abroad, whether it's in the States or the Midwest, because it's more like, it's less stressful, I think, and I can balance better my lifestyle, my work style, because that's being a couple and working together. It's also important to find the right balance between work and your life, personal life. So that's why I wanted to spread them out, and why I moved here. We were speaking to a girl last week called Melody Joy, who's based in Chicago, and she has a very similar sort of setup. She's from Chicago, but romance kind of brings her
over here for half the year. But what she said to us is that she prefers to do most of the weddings in Chicago because of the market. And like you said, you can charge more compared to over here where you're doing like 1 or 2 or sometimes 3 weddings just for the same price. So if you don't mind me asking, how much do you charge for a wedding film?
Now our price list, like 2019, the start package start at 7,500.
Cool.
Then we have a middle package, which is 10,500. And then we have the biggest, the full wedding, which is like pre-wedding coverage day before, 2 hours the day after, and a few service included. And that's 18,000.
Yeah.
Let's say that the most, like, how you say in English, the most sold out? No, the most
most popular.
That I sell, the most popular is the middle one, like 10,500. And then I sometimes, like twice, I'm able to sell the bigger one. And I'm very happy when I do that. We go out celebrating all the time. Like, let's have dinner in a fancy restaurant. Yeah, we book the big package because you're happy, every time they confirm you a good. But definitely the market is much better here. The thing is also, I'm still competing with the European vendors because when I'm working in Italy, these prices are high crazy compared to the Italian prices.
Yeah.
I mean, the best videographer right now in Italy, they charge not more than 4,000 or 5,000. So even my basic package is still too high. And I offer nothing compared to them. I offer just a short, like 10, 12 minutes film and just 8 hours of coverage. So something very, nothing particularly. But yeah, that's why I'm getting my client here, and I close the deal, and I get them on board, get the contract signed before they start looking for Italian prices or European prices.
Yeah.
Even in England, guys. I think in England, I don't want to say. I would say Italy, and England are the same level. Like,
I would agree.
Beautiful places, but so many talented guys, but at the same time, prices are so low.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're living in the countryside and your housing, your rentals is cheap, I feel you. You say like, I'm fine, even charging 2,000, I'm fine. Okay, I don't really share that, but I can understand it. But if you're living in London, I mean, rentals are high, crazy.
Yeah.
Here in Los Angeles too. Like, if you're living in a city where the life cost is crazy high, you have to raise your prices if you wanted to have an healthy business. Healthy business. Sorry for my...
No, that's fine.
So you have to, because otherwise, you can do... That's why so many great videographers, they start doing this, but they don't have a business background. And after 2, 3, 4 years, they just quit because they cannot build a healthy business.
Yeah.
I also started doing some Skype call, one-to-one, like counseling. And now I'm launching on my website the like officially because I've already been doing this for a few months. And I'm seeing that, of course, people ask me for like creative approach, how you do this, how you do that. But the biggest lack is always the business side. Like, I don't know how much to charge. I don't know how to market myself. And I think that's the biggest lack in our industry, because there's no rules, there's no background. It's a free industry.
It's so easy to get into the industry. You can just realize that you're good with a camera, you can edit an amazing film, and all of a sudden you're a wedding filmmaker. But you're right, like the business side of it is like, oh wait, how do I make ends meet? That's where people really struggle, and you see them get really popular and then just disappear eventually because it's like, yep, they weren't sustaining themselves.
100%.
When I first started out, I thought that if I'm doing great films and I focus all my energy in doing the best output that I can, that's enough. But actually, that's not enough. That's half of your business, because the other half, it's all the business. And luckily, so that my girlfriend, she's very good at that. She's a very organized person. I'm a mess guy. So she deal with that. And we understood that, especially in the last few years, paying for a software who can manage all your clients and automate all the payments and stuff like that, doing some changes, business-wise. Actually, we improved a lot. We got so much more free time. And at the same time, we look more professional, especially when you start selling at those prices. You want people, on the other hand, looking at you like, hey, you're not writing my invoice, but it's already everything is paperless. It's already automized. You know what I mean?
Optimized.
Automatic.
Yeah, automatic.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I'm still sleeping. So yeah, and that we learned a lot from that side, and that's half of your business also.
Yeah.
So it's all about finding that right balance between the creative and the business side. Yeah.
When you book a destination couple in Italy, does it help that I'm assuming that they know the kind of prices that they would pay in the US? Does it help that they've kind of got that knowledge when they book you? That they think,
Definitely.
okay, that this is normal,
Definitely.
Okay, and that's why you get them before they, like even if they were to know the local prices, would they go with you? Do you think they would still go with you?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, if they have to appreciate my work and say like, we know we're paying much more, but we really like your work, and that much more is understandable for them because they used to pay much more for other stuff. But one thing that I learned being here, so many times couple think, especially Americans couple, they think that getting married in Italy or in Spain or in south of France or in England, they think that's should be like so much more expensive than getting married here in the States. And when they start doing research and asking for inquiries and reach out to planner, so many times they're surprised from how cheaper, not always, but so many times is way cheaper than planning a wedding here in the States. And they always think about us like a super expensive country, Europe, So if you want to do something there, especially a wedding, that should be super high expensive. And when they really start digging the prices, they're like, what? Real? I can get a castle in the middle of Tuscany on a weekday for like 15,000? Oh, that's crazy. Because here in LA or in New York with 15,000, I can get nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you don't have those 100-year-old castles as well. Yeah. I was shooting a wedding in Rome in this old castle, and one of the guests asked me, "Is this a real castle?" And I was like, "Of course, you're in Rome, we're in Italy. That's real stones." Wow, because I thought everything is fake in the States. I mean, when they try to replicate those old stuff, that old stuff. And so I never seen a real castle. So we have castle, but they're like Universal Studios. They're fake. So that's real. That was so fun.
Yeah.
So they're surprised so many times from the prices there.
Yeah, and we've actually felt the same because we've been told that as well, but we've not really understood it because we don't go to America that often. But when we do go, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I can see why they feel that everything's got such history and character, because like everything here is kind of, I don't want to say fake, but there's like it's not authentic.
It just seems new.
It just seems new, yeah.
The history of Europe.
And I quite like that about our country as well. When couples come over, they really enjoy the Scottish history because there's a little bit of mystery, a little bit of magic to it. But when you talk to them about this location, like any location in Scotland, it's like, oh yeah, this is where this clan got murdered. And then over here, this is where this person got poisoned or knifed, or it's a very violent history, and it's quite fun to joke around with couples like that. But they always...
I should do that when I'm in Italy. Yeah, I should do that. maybe you don't work with American clients too often because your accent, because you look too smart, and they like, oh, they're English, they're British, they sound so smart. While they told me so many times, oh, you're exotic. I think I'm a shitty accent, and they say, no, we like that because that's exotic.
Yeah.
I never thought about my accent as exotic, as something good. But I'm kidding, and you're not smart. And I mean, sometimes they say, oh, they think that British people, they're smarter just because of the accent.
Yeah.
So many times, I don't know why. That's so funny. Yeah, we are.
It's actually really funny because when we do a local wedding here, everyone thinks I'm Canadian or American because I have this strange accent that when I'm around a certain group, it changes. It's kind of like a chameleon. Like if I'm around an American, I will start talking with an American accent. But
so they cannot really place your accent.
Yeah,
so.
all the time. Everyone thinks that, but I'm like, oh, all right.
I would love to do that.
Maybe
I would love to do that.
Yeah, maybe I should play up.
When
to
I'm
that.
When I'm in London, working with like British vendors, planner, florists, I force myself to say so many times, lovely, because everyone say lovely in London. And I was doing this styled shoot, and every 5 minutes, everyone was saying, oh, that's so lovely. And I was like, oh, that's very something Londoner. So I'm gonna remember that and use that when I'm with the clients. And it's working.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's really funny. Do you use lovely?
I don't think so.
What do you normally say to a couple when you're engaging with them? Is there anything?
I don't know.
I think I say awesome all the time. Oh, this is so awesome.
Awesome fire.
Yeah.
Here in LA, they all say cool or sweet, but no one say lovely.
Lovely.
So that's why, no one say that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And by the way, I think I have that opinion of your accent because I think high fashion for some reason. I think of Milan, it's that kind of feeling, so I like your accent quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. Well, actually, being Italian also helped me a lot here. I mean, when you meet clients in the States, they're always a bit fascinated by my being Italian. You know? So yeah, that's actually helped me a lot. And I didn't know that before moving here, and I'm grateful.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I take it all as well in LA that you've enjoyed yourself, you've enjoyed staying there, working there.
Yeah. I'm still working on building a network here because I'm still pretty new. Mm-hmm. And of course, you can't really land on a new country or a new city and pretend to work with the biggest wedding planner or vendors or client because there are already great people, talented videographer already here working in the business from like 10 years.
Yes.
So it takes some time to get into the industry and spread your name out. But it's working actually. And I'm starting receiving inquiries. So yeah, like from that point of view, I love that. It just, I'm a guy that I'm always in a rush. So I wanted to do that kind of process in much less time, because I wanted to arrive there and like go pam, 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 pam. And just in 6 months, I'm already local, and I'm working with all the best guy in the industry. Actually, it takes more time because you have to gain their trust and because before doing a great work, before delivering a great output, you should be a professional. You should be a people that can trust. So that's where I'm focusing all my energy, like to show the people that I want to work with that I'm reliable, that I'm professional.
Yeah.
So, and that it takes some time, of course, the gaining a trust of someone.
Of course.
But yes, I'm loving that. And I love the attitude here, the people. But at the same time, I also love going back to Italy and Europe in summer because there are pros and cons, it's not the paradise here. There are so many things that I like, but so many things that I don't like. And so I think it's the best thing is like going back and forth. And my living here, but at the same time going back to Italy, like for the summer season. And so going back to my roots and experiencing that different culture helps me getting better, so I can compare the different culture and network and markets and people all the time and get the best of what I think is best for me, what fits me better. And I think this living seasonally is the best way to approach life to me. But that's me and my girlfriend. I know that so many colleagues we have, you also, there are kids involved, dogs, animal, housing, parents. So it's not that easy.
With Jack was designed from the ground up and is tailored specifically for creatives. Whether you provide a service like design, development or photography, or offer advice to clients, With Jack is for you. It's focused on creatives. Insurance shouldn't be complicated, so With Jack has made every step easy. You'll deal with one form and talk to one Jack as you sign up, get covered, and move on with your day. With Jack is all about bespoke insurance for creatives. Simple. That doesn't mean more forms or faff, it means less. It's not about endless features and stale service. It's about one solid policy and the personal touch. Bye-bye unnecessary fuss. Hello, creative friendly insurance. Be a confident creative. So you moved there, you get into your apartment. What was what steps did you take after that, after moving your life over to find business? Like how did you go, how did you go about getting your first wedding there, or continuing on?
I was already reaching out to planner through Instagram before moving here. I shot a wedding in Napa Valley, Northern California, before getting my visa. I, like everybody I just flew in.
Did you do that illegally?
You were on holiday.
I did that, yeah. I'm not proud of that, but I did it. I had this beautiful Napa Valley wedding. And I was like, oh, that's meant to be, I'm applying for a visa and I already got this inquiry. But the wedding was much earlier and I had to wait almost 1 year to get my visa approved. So I was like, I'm going to go there as a tourist, of course, and I'm going to rent everything there, which I found there's a website, LensPro2Go, which is super great. Yeah. They deliver the stuff at your address and it's super nice guy there. So I flew in, rented everything, shot a wedding, and I started promoting myself when I got the visa, when I actually could do that officially on the website. I started promoting myself with that Californian wedding and at the same time with my destination wedding. And I started reaching out to planner and photographers because those are the main people that can bring work to us, photographer or videographer. No, photographer or planner. I started reaching out and say hey, I'm here, I'm new, I just want to know how the industry works here and blah, blah, blah. Can we meet for a coffee? Then I was lucky to got this celebrity wedding when I just, after 1 month, maybe a couple of months that I was here. And that really shed a light on me, Right. So people started looking at me oh, this Italian guy new in town, he already shot that celebrity wedding. Oh, he also shot a wedding in Napa Valley. Oh, he also has this beautiful wedding in Italy and in Europe. Oh, so they started to reaching out to me. That was just the beginning. To gain their trust, which I'm still doing that, I started shooting events, wedding planner events or charity events for free, because that's something that really works here in the States.
Right.
While in Italy, at least to my experience, if someone asks you hey, can you shoot this event for free? You will get so much exposure. You're I don't think so. Bye-bye. That's never worked for me. I did that when I first started in Italy, but then I stopped doing that because that's not a good investment.
Yeah.
While here actually, so many colleagues of mine, even videographer here, told me hey, actually, that's how things work here. If you're working not always, but once, twice a year for a good charity events or wedding planner events, and you sponsor that event, you're working for free, you will get so much exposure, and actually people will reach out to you after. And I was like, nah, I don't believe that. It's never worked like that in Italy.
Yeah.
But I'm here. I'm new. I don't have wedding to shoot here because I'm still new. Let's give it a try. That's what I did. I shot 2 wedding industry vendor Californian events. They really enjoyed the video, and I started receiving email from, I would say, 4 or 5 like planner. They were attending that event, like, hey, we saw your video, we like it. So you're based in LA, or you're just going back and forth? And no, I'm in LA. Oh, okay, maybe we have a wedding. Can you send us your prices? Actually, that worked. That also brought me, the Villa Cora wedding. Actually, I got the wedding through this process.
All right, cool.
Because a planner saw me at one of these events. And she reached out to me and say, hey, we have this couple. They're from San Diego. They have 2 weddings, one in San Diego, one in Florence. Can you shoot both? And I was like, yeah, why not? Yeah. And that was thanks to that investment that I did.
Yeah.
But it's about, you can't just do that every day, every week. You just need to strategize and understand which one is a good investment or not. Yeah, to get to know each other. Networking here is really something like healthy, like that works.
Yeah.
In Italy, there's no networking. There's no like industry events. There's nothing like that. Even between videographer, they don't speak to each other. Or maybe they tell you something, but that's not real because they just want to fool you. And there's no really. There's no a space for sharing, There's no that kind of dimension. While here, actually there is, and I love that, because if we share everything, knowledge, creative wise, business wise, that we all learn and we all bring our industry higher.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something that, I mean, in Europe there are like things like For Love's Sakes events. Or like there are events like that try to gather, all videographer and bring up this value. But it's something it's still a niche, it's not the average. While here it's the average, like networking, sharing to each other, getting better to each other, making a teamwork is a huge thing here. There's nothing like that in Italy. There's nothing like that.
Yeah, it's funny. That's not the first time we've heard that. When not obviously not just Italy, but a few European countries that we've heard that's how they handle their education, and it is a total shame, because I feel like here in the UK we're really starting to focus on education quite a bit.
It's much more similar to the US. And here in the UK, we're always sort of taking influences from the US, and that sharing of knowledge and creating communities around the different sort of supplier types is definitely a big thing.
Yeah. That's why when I saw you starting this podcast, I was like, I have like a to-do list, things that I want to do to my business, and podcast was one of them, but not was at the top at the bottom of the list. But I knew and I know that podcasts are right now one of the best media and tools to spread knowledge, and I mean, I know how powerful they are right now. And when I saw you doing that, I was like, yeah, I admire those guys because they did it. I just thought about that. They actually did it. And I really admire you guys, because it's that here in the States, everybody does podcasts, even the florist, even the makeup artist, even everyone. It's a very common thing. You can see people driving their car or drinking their coffee at Starbucks with the earphones, listening not to music but to a podcast. That's a very common practice here, but not in Europe. So when I mean, in big city like London, Milan, yes, it is, but not in the whole country. So when I saw you guys, I was like, yeah, I'm so happy they started this, because it helps all of us, all the industry. So well done, guys.
Thank you. Well, I mean, like, Love's Sake was a great inspiration to just doing stuff a little bit different, and the education that we've had in the UK. We just felt like, obviously we've been doing this for quite a while. We've had some really bad lows and some really good highs, and all those are kind of lessons learned, and we really do want to spread the knowledge, because it is, like you said, the business side is just, it's missing from a lot of people. So it's it's really important for us to feel like we're kind of contributing to the well-being of our industry.
Yeah.
I hope I put that well.
There was a no, I totally understood. That's what I was saying before, like earlier. I'll hear there are people shooting weddings, like high-end wedding from like 15 years, and they made it a business. They in Italy or in Europe, we are still young. There's no such a wedding videographer who lasts so long. Like, hey, he's still he's high in the industry, but at the same time he's shooting wedding for like 15 years. There's nothing like that, because there's no business knowledge. There's a lot of creativity around, much more than here in the States, I think, but there's no business knowledge. So after a few years, you have too many low, then high, and then you like, oh, this lifestyle is too stressful. I want a family. I can't really carry on and travel all the time with these prices, and you just quit or do something different. So yeah, I think that helping the community in Europe and in getting more knowledge about the business side of our work, that's everything right now.
Yeah.
And that's something also that's missing in the main workshops. That's also why, I'm also planning a workshop next year when the business side will be a huge part of the schedule, because that's, as I said before, like that's half of our business.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. So obviously you spoke about, making sure that those relationships are, the bedrock essentially to getting business. Are there any like tools that you use in terms of like social media? Like how do you approach like blogging and stuff like that?
As you know, right now it's all about Instagram.
Yes.
So I would say that all my energy are focused on Instagram, and I've been doing that for the last one year and a half, let's say, when I really say, okay, I'm gonna invest my social media time on Instagram, and I almost forgot about Facebook, because when I was talking about planner or vendors reaching out to me here, I would say that 70% of them, they reach out to me through Instagram, to DM. So that's, of course, my social media tool, I don't blog because I'm not that comfortable with the language yet.
Okay.
And the client that I'm working with are like, I would say, wealthy people. And I spend so much time to make my price list, not my website yet, I'm still working on it, but my branding. I work a lot in getting my brand like at that level and working at those prices and working with that kind of clients that I don't want to show them that I'm writing a blog with shitty English,
Yeah.
So I wanted to be comfortable doing that. I always thought about hiring someone to correct the blog and everything.
Yeah.
But if you want to do that seriously, you need a plan. Like you have to be consistent in doing that, as you do it with the podcast,
Yeah.
And that's actually not in my priorities right now. I have other priorities.
Yep.
But that's for sure is something very helpful. I mean, if you do that properly, like being consistent and talking about interesting topics and stuff like that, that's something that people look for. Yeah.
So I guess you're putting more focus on your sort of
networking right now.
Sort of
I'm focused. I stopped spending my money into SEO and Google optimization. I was doing that till last year, the year before. Because when I started doing that, like Google optimization, SEO for your website, when I started out 5 years ago, that was fine at that time because there were not that much of videographer out there, not that many. But right now there are so many guys out there, and they invest so much more money in Google SEO and optimization and in being like the first page of the SERP, and they sell themselves at the lowest prices. So I was like, what's the point of investing money in SEO and Google and compete with those guys? And I'm like 4 times more expensive than them. Even if I get there and the client land on the first Google page and they found my name amongst them, what's the point of that's not the right client for me, because I can compete with other guys who charge like 2,000, 3,000. So I decide to focus much more on real relationships, networking, and I'm spending much more time offline rather than online. Because I think that if you really want to get in that circle, like really high, I'm not really there yet, but if you want to really go there, you need to focus your energy offline. Yeah, because all the people that I admire right now, I mean, videographer, planners from the States, who really do those kind of wedding that I want to do, they invest zero time in their social media, in their website. They invest all their time in events, relationships, hanging out together. That's when you really gain someone else's trust. And that's why when they think, oh, you're ready, I have a client. It could be a celebrity, it could be a wealthy guy, it's a huge wedding. So there is a budget, but at the same time, we're looking for quality content. So I think now that I know you better, that you're a reliable person, professional, you create good content, that's why I'm going to refer your name. But that's something that comes later on,
Yeah,
and
that comes through a relationship over time rather than you don't get that trust from being found on Google.
The other day there was this comment on Facebook. I don't remember in which one Facebook group. A guy from France. He was. I want to be polite here. He was a bit bragging himself. Maybe he's listening. Hi man. He was a bit. He knows who I'm talking about. He was a bit bragging himself about I'm working at these prices with these clients, blah blah blah. And a beginner videographer, a new guy, asked him, "How you do that? How can I get there?" And he answered, "Oh, I'm just making good films, and then the market found me." And I'm not really a social. I don't spend so much time on Facebook, but I couldn't resist. I was like, no, you cannot teach a beginner guy something like that, because that's not true. Because first, I know that you're not really working at those price, but let's pretend you're working at those price. It's not about creating good films and then the industry magically found you. Like, you have to build a network and be professional and build a relationship with the right people, and at the same time create good content. There's way more involved. And I answered the guy, and I also private messaged the beginner videographer, and I was like, man, don't lose hope. Like, it's not like that. It's not just about creating good film. There's a lot more involved. There's a lot more that you can learn. So don't listen to the guy. Just, you already do great films. Keep doing that. And at the same time, focus on marketing yourself better and build a network of your own people that are your same level right now. And then you go higher altogether. Yeah, there's a huge lack of knowledge for certain topic in Europe. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And good on you for standing up for that wee guy. Like, because I feel like somebody needs to, like,
trying to sell that build it and they will come image is just wrong. Like, it takes someone like you to stand up and say, no, like, you have to put in the work and you will get there. Like,
Yeah. Like everything is possible. Because I think at myself when I first started, when I was asking questions like that, like reaching out to people like just Simon, like people like that, like, hey, I want to get better. I want to improve my films. I want to improve my business. How can I do that? Is someone at that time was like, no, man, like, you can't do that. or it's just about creating good film. And if you're not good enough, you're out of the business.
But yeah, it's funny. It's kind of a reflection on the the Italian market or maybe the European market, that their mentality is to hoard their knowledge. And if you're looking at how much the market charges, maybe there's a correlation there. Maybe the way that people in Europe have been doing it so far is detrimental to themselves and they don't even know it.
There's no authentic knowledge about the real prices and the real market situation. So people cannot learn from that and cannot improve and getting better and fix their mistakes if there's no authentic knowledge about the actual situation. You can't go getting better. When I was shooting these events last week, these wedding planner events here in LA, I was shocked. I was blown away from how these planners in Los Angeles and nearby, they all competitors. They should hate each other if they were Italian, They all were sharing great tips, honest tips. And I was there, and at the same time that I was working there, I had this whole picture of the market right now here in California from the wedding planner perspective, and that was super helpful even for me. And it's all about that. If people share knowledge, and that's the only way to get better and to make a healthier market. There's nothing like that in Europe. So maybe, as you say, it's correlated. Definitely. I never used that word, but I just heard from you and I applied.
I mean, I'm not obviously saying there is, because correlation does not, mean... there's a phrase there that I can't... What's the phrase, Greg? What's the phrase?
I don't know.
Correlation doesn't equal...
Causation?
Causation, that's the one.
He's just trying to use bigger words. That's all he's trying to do.
I love it. I am, absolutely. But yeah, if you're listening in Europe and you're maybe thinking the same thing, maybe start getting your education from outside the European market. Look at the American, business people. Look at how they do things. Look in the UK, see how people are, running their business, how they're making relationships and benefiting from the knowledge that they're kind of spreading. I think it's really important.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing this podcast, because we're trying to create a podcast that is not pretentious, that is going to give honest, helpful tips. And I feel that's really important.
Yeah.
That's what I admire about you guys, because it's all about that. It's all, if in 5 years from now, we still want to do this work in a better way, we have to build tools like this, podcast, workshop, community events. We have to gather together and to be honest and not brag ourselves. I'm working big money and if I might have your price list in my hands, I know that that's not true. So why you're bragging? So just build something like that. Definitely helps all our community in Europe and worldwide. I mean, they're already doing that here in the States, even between the videographers. But there's nothing like that in Europe. That's why I think, as you said, England is the first country who's really standing up, and doing stuff like that, like podcasts, events, community gatherings, and I really admire that because that's everything we need.
Yeah, so just getting back to something you mentioned before when I asked you about getting into the American market. You mentioned some things that you don't like about the American market. Can you think of anything off the top of your head now, you want to get into?
I mean, if we're talking about the wedding market, because I was talking more general, living. We were talking about living in LA, and culturally, people are different here. Something is better, something I don't like. So I was talking more about generally, not just focus on the wedding market. Okay. But if I have to find something in the wedding market that I don't like here, I mean, there's nothing that I really don't like, as there are so many things that I don't like in Italy. But people sometimes are too polite here. What I mean is that I like working in that kind of environment where everybody's helping each other, everybody's too polite. Hey, you're so nice, you're so kind, thank you, your work is so great. That's a positive vibe, a positive attitude, and it's beautiful to work in that kind of environment. But at the same time, when there's something that you don't like or that you feel is wrong, they're not that straightforward like we European are,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
especially Italians. So if I did something wrong, if you don't like my video, or if you don't like how I dress up, if you, whatever, please tell me that. Don't be too polite even there, because I have to learn from my mistakes. So Americans are very, very too nice sometimes.
Yeah.
And it seems that everything is going on and everything is great, everything is perfect, everything is the most beautiful thing ever happened. But at the same time, maybe there are a few things that you can fix and change. And they, being too polite and too nice, they don't tell you. Or maybe they use a different word, which is still a very nice word. But yeah, I really appreciate that about the European culture. I mean, if you suck, they tell you, "Hey, man, I don't like that. Like that's something that I don't like. If you wanted to work with me, you have to dress up better. You have to be more low profile, or more interactive with the couple, or more like, I want to hear what the people that I'm working here feel.
Yeah.
I want to know that, because I want to create the best working team ever. So yeah.
Cool.
And
so what you're really saying is that Nicolas Cage hates his wedding film. He's just too nice to say it. I'm kidding.
Yeah, luckily he loved the film, and he referred me to his friends too. I didn't close that wedding, unfortunately, but I was already happy with him referring me to another of his peeps, you know, because that's the only way you can get inside that circle. I didn't make it because the guy chose another one. But
do you know why?
I mean, he referred.
Because you're not blogging. I'm sorry. I'm just jesting. I'm in a cheeky mood right now. I'm sorry.
But that's
I know.
That's the sort of feedback that you know you've done a good job when they refer you to another.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. In fact, there's no real, like, there's no better compliment than having that referral, because it means that individual trusts you enough.
Yeah.
To help the people that's important in their lives. So yeah.
Hold on a sec. Let me change the blogging position in my to-do list. I'm gonna bring it up.
I have a quick question. Since moving to LA, have you bought a boosted board? Because it would seem like every American YouTuber has a boosted board.
What do you mean with boosted board?
Oh, it's like an electric skateboard that they run around the streets with, you know?
Okay, I wanted to, because my background, I'm a snowboarder. I met actually my girlfriend snowboarding.
Oh, really?
The Italian Alps, yeah.
Ah, cool.
So I before doing video as a freelancer, I was working in a skateboard and surf shop in Italy.
Cool.
So I really like that board lifestyle. And when I came here, I was like, I'm gonna get one, because I can just go to Venice Beach and ride my boost board. But then I started understanding about health insurance and how expensive they are.
Yeah.
And even if you're paying so much in the health insurance, they don't cover it all.
Right.
So if you get hurt somehow, you still spend a bunch of money, even if you have the insurance. And that was like, since I'm not really I crashed my nose, I broke my nose surfing because I hit rocks. When I was snowboarding, I had a back injury, and they brought me out from the how you call, like the place with an helicopter. So I'm a bit crazy when I do those kind of sports. Yeah. And my girlfriend told me, you know how you are. So there's a good chance you're gonna end up hard. Yes. And here the health insurance is pretty expensive. So just think about that. I'm still thinking about that.
Yeah, that's probably a good business decision. I would. Yeah.
Stick to walking.
It's definitely safer. Yeah. Yeah. So, do you have any advice for anyone who wants to uproot their life and their business and move to a new location on a personal side?
On the personal side, my advice would be just go there a few times on vacation. Stay there as much as you can, a week, 2 weeks, a month. I've been coming here in LA, I think even before meeting Sole, I was coming here. I've been coming here like 7-10 times before moving here. Because I really wanted to, sometimes even for a short time, even for a week, which is nothing, especially when you fly all the way from Italy.
Yeah.
But you really have to know the place before moving there, knowing the culture, knowing if it's a good fit for you. And even knowing that, when you actually move there, it's always something a bit different. Because, living there, dealing with the plumber and the annual rental and the medical insurance and stuff like that, it's something different. But at least if you came here so many times, it's not that different from what you experience during your vacation travels. So yeah, that's my first tip.
Yeah.
Just fly in their country, get to know the people, the culture, everything. And yeah, I moved here not just because of the business, because of course it's a good move for the business, because there was no way I could get those high-end clients if I was still living in Italy and competing with my Italian colleagues who are charging so low. So that's obviously it was a great move for my business, but at the same time, it should also be the right move for you as a person.
Yeah. Do you have any regrets about moving?
Nope.
Excellent.
No,
that's what I like to hear. I would really be bummed out if you said yes.
So do you have any goals for the business for the next year to 2 years?
My goal is actually getting just 10 weddings in Europe and 7 to 10 weddings abroad.
Yeah.
Right now, today, I have 13 weddings in Italy and Europe, and I think 6, something like that, abroad. So I wanted to spread them out more in the way that when I fly to Italy, I'm more at ease, I'm more, have more time to enjoy my own country, my friends, my family, and I don't have to run from one wedding to another.
Yeah.
So that's one of my goals, spread them out. One of the other goals is the education part, because I know, as you said, education is very important. I learned a lot from education and looking up at people like Simon, Still Motion, and all the people who came after them. And I've been receiving so many requests, especially on Instagram in the last year, people starting out in this business. Hey, how can I do this? How can I do that? And I started doing this mentorship, one-to-one Skype call without market them. Just people were reaching out to me, and I was like, yeah, I feel comfortable. I would love to help someone else because I wanted something like that when I first started. So if through my mistakes I can help someone else getting better quicker, I feel good, you know?
Yeah.
So I started doing that without promoting myself. And now after I did a few, 4 or 5 private classes, mentorship call, I was like, yeah, I should go official and open a side side page on my website where I can sell and give more education. Whether it's something that you can buy or something free, or whether it's a call like we're doing today, or something like a guide, a PDF guide. That's one of my main goals in 2019.
Cool. Yeah, look forward to seeing some of that when it's ready. Yeah,
we've taken quite a lot of your time, so thank you very much, obviously, for waking up super early and coming on the call with us.
Sorry for me being late.
No, you're fine.
I don't want it to be because they say here in the States, they say Italian time. When someone is late, they say, that's Italian time. And I'm so sorry, guys. I had a good half an hour Italian time this morning, but I usually don't do that. So I'm so sorry, guys. And I admire you so much. I'm so happy, and thank you for having me here. I really admire what you're doing, and yeah, just do more of this and do a podcast every day.
Whoa.
Come on, just
calm down. No, it's been our pleasure having you on.
Before we head off, though, where can people find out about you online?
Yeah, my website is alessandrobordoni.com and my Instagram is Alessandro Bordoni Films. And that's it. I would say my Instagram.
Yeah.
I spend my time there and people reach out to me there, yeah. Or by email, yeah.
When about are you going to do your one-to-one?
I will go officially, on my website and everything, with the education part, I think in less than 2 weeks.
Okay.
Something like that.
Wow. Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, because my web guy is Italian. And he's a great guy, but he's too slow. I wanted to be out at the end of January.
Yeah.
And I told him in December, hey, I want to be out end of January with all that education part. And he was like, yeah. But he's Italian, so it takes his time.
Yeah.
And I have to embrace this. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, definitely, keep an eye out for that if you're listening. And where can people find us, Greg?
They can find us at Cinemate Films and at cinematefilms.co.uk.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks again. Send our love to Soli as well.
Yeah, sure.
So, Greg, are we doing a review shout out? Excellent.
So the review today is coming from, it says Pug Lady on iTunes.
Hello, Pug Lady.
And it says, loving Perspective podcast. Such a great service, lads. Keep it up.
Thank you. Oh, and we
Pug
will.
Lady.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, hit that subscribe button so that you know when the next episode goes online. Please leave a review, because that is going to help grow this podcast. And if you don't want to do that, totally cool. Just tell a friend.
However, until next time,
Enjoy your life.